Hello everyone, my name is Pukar Dhital. I'm an English instructor and today we'll be covering the chapter The Sentence for grade 5. So let's begin the chapter. So what do you know about the sentence? What is your idea on sentence? What do we call a sentence? Do you have any clue? Well, you can discuss with your friends perhaps and share your idea what you think about sentence. Now, normally you might say that a sentence, this might be your version, that a sentence is a group of words. Is this what your version about the sentence is? Is this what you think a sentence is? Well, if this is the case, a sentence is a group of words, then how about an example here for this one? Let's say Jack and Apple eats. Have a look at this sentence here. Jack and Apple eats. So according to this definition, do you think this is a sentence? See, a sentence is a group of words. If you think that is a sentence that defines the sentence, then does this example fit this definition? A group of words are here, which are all put together like Jack and Apple eats, and we are trying to form a sentence here. So if you think this is a sentence, maybe you need to think again. If you don't think this is a sentence, then maybe you can tell your friends. You can discuss it in your classroom and tell your friends why you think this is not a sentence. And I hope you've discussed on that. And you might come to a conclusion that this is not a sentence at all because this does not make sense. See, this does not make sense at all. Jack and Apple eats. In what way are these group of words meaningful? So you can define a sentence as a sentence is a group of words put together. A sentence is a group of words put together and which makes a complete sense. You see that? So this is the definition of a sentence. A sentence is a group of words put together. The group of words must come together and which makes a complete sense. Now this is very important. Always remember that a sentence always has to make a complete sense. See? It has to be sensible. A sentence must be sensible. Alright, so that's why this definition, if you say a sentence is a group of words, this should be wrong. But if you say a sentence is a group of words put together and which makes a complete sense, this becomes a sentence. Okay? Never forget that a sentence is usually separated, alright? And several many sentences make a paragraph. Sentences are separated by a full stop, alright? Usually separated by a full stop. Now, of course, you all know that this dot is what we call a full stop, isn't it? Now, sometimes it might happen that and several many sentences in a chronological order make a paragraph. And do keep in mind that it's not that it always has to be several many sentences. Sometimes even a single sentence form a paragraph. So how many kinds of sentences do we have? When we write, why do we need sentences? Because we express ourselves. Why do we need sentences? Why do we need sentence? Can you give its answer? Why do we need sentence? Again, you can take a couple of minutes and talk to one another. Why do you think you need sentence? I hope you had taken the time to discuss why you need sentence. And the idea is simple, because we want to express ourselves, isn't it? To express ourselves in written form. See? To express ourselves in written form, we need sentence. Now, as you speak, you must have noticed sometimes you have to ask a question. Sometimes you're very utterly surprised. Sometimes you're sad. Sometimes you're just making a statement. Sometimes you're making a request. So when we speak, we can figure that out. But how about when we write it down? So that's why to express all different kinds of or forms of expression, to express all different forms of expression, there are 5 kinds of sentences. So what are they? All right. So let's look at these 5 different kinds of sentences one by one. So to start with, the first one, I would call it assertive or declarative sentences. So what do you think is assertive or declarative sentences? See, you call it either assertive, or we also call it declarative sentences. You see, sentences which make simple statements or assertion are called assertive or declarative sentences. Now let's look at this definition here. Sentences which make simple statements. Alright, sentences which make simple statements or assertions are called assertive or declarative sentences. Let's clarify it with an example. For example, we are going for a movie. Second example, he will not like to go with you. See, we are going for a movie. He will not like to go with you. See, these sentences are declaring something, all right? They are declaring or stating something. Whenever a sentence declares something, states something. Whenever any statement is made, that is what we call assertive or declarative sentences. All right? And as you can see in the example here, it could be positive or it could be negative sentence as well. Okay? Now let's move on to the second type of sentence. Now, number 2, interrogative sentences. Now, what do you think is interrogative sentence? Do you know what interrogative means? Interrogative or interrogate means to ask. So if I'm hinting you, it means to ask. So what do you think interrogative sentence mean? It simply means that sentences which ask questions. Sentences which ask questions are called interrogative sentences. All right? Such as anything that ends with a question mark. Who are you? Who are you? And remember, it always ends with a question mark. Very important. It always has question mark at last. Because see, question mark means it denotes that something is being asked. Okay? Or anything. Like, do you like football? See? So any sentences which ask questions, we call it interrogative sentences. Now, let's move on to number 3. Imperative sentences. So what do you think is imperative sentences? Now see, when you speak, sometimes you have to give command. Sometimes you have to make a request. Sometimes you might have to give advice, perhaps to your brother, to your sister, to your family, to your friends. Or sometimes you're suggesting something. So all these forms of expressions, if a sentence expresses these forms of expression, we call it imperative sentences. See, sentences which express commands. You're commanding something, you're ordering something. Requests, advice, suggestions are called imperative sentences. See, sentences which express commands. You're ordering something, you're commanding something like go home and study, or submit your homework tomorrow, or get out of the room. You're commanding something. Sit down. Something as simple as sit down, eat your food. Requests. Could you pass me that bottle? Can you lend me some money? Or advice. I want you to study hard. I suggest you to drink plenty of water. See, all these suggestions, advice, requests, or commands, they are called imperative sentences when expressed in sentences. Alright? And its example would be, let's say, okay, you're ordering something. Be quiet. See, it's an order, command or order. Or it could be, have faith in God. Or how about, please do me a favor. Please do me a favor. Or let's add one more here. Could you lend me some money? See? So whenever sentences express commands or orders like be quiet, sit down, all right? Or it expresses advice, have faith in God. Or make sure you eat your food on time. Suggestions, all right? Please do me a favor. Or it makes a request. Could you lend me some money? It is what we call imperative sentences. Okay, let's move further. And number 4, we have what we call exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory sentences. So before we move on to exclamatory sentences, I'm sure you all know what is an exclamation mark, don't you? Okay? And now that you know what is exclamation mark, you can talk to a teacher, you can talk to your friends. Guess what is exclamatory sentences? So, provided that you've guessed or you've shared your view that what is exclamatory sentence, let's see what actually is exclamatory sentence. Now, sentences which express strong feelings or emotions such as joy, sorrow, surprise, or wonder are called exclamatory. So whenever we have this sudden expression of joy, excitement, grief, or sorrow, or surprise, see, these are all expressions, human expressions. A certain expression of joy, or you're very happy, in a very merry mood, or a grief or sorrow, or you're extremely surprised, or sometimes you're in a wonder, like wow. These expressions are always accompanied by exclamation mark. And whenever a sentence has this exclamation mark, and by the way, not just exclamation mark, and it's expressing this human emotion, these human emotions, that is what we call exclamatory sentences. Okay, can you think of some examples? Now, if we are to think of the example, let's say joy. Hooray, we have won. So I won the match, and the excitement is yes, or hooray, or wow, we've won the match, or we have won. See, exclamatory sentence. Or if you want to express something sad, alas, I am ruined. It's a sad statement. Sadness also has exclamation mark. Alas, I'm ruined. Or it could be wow. Now let's talk about something wonder. Wow, what a lovely game. See? So these are all what we call an exclamatory sentence, right? Which expresses certain joy, sorrow, surprise, or wonder, and which has exclamation mark here in the sentence, and this denotes exclamatory sentences. Okay, now let's move on to the last type that we have here, number 5, optative sentences. Now, what is optative sentences? Now, sometimes you must have wondered your parents, your seniors are giving blessings to you. Okay, or sometimes you must have noticed yourself wishing something in your life, or maybe you're praying to God. Or sometimes you must have seen or read in mythological scriptures God giving boons to his devotees. Or you must have come across, again in the mythological story, or maybe perhaps you have seen in real life, heard in real life, someone cursing somebody. Oh, that person may go to hell. So all these sentences which expresses a wish, or a boon, or a curse, or a prayer, they are what we call optative sentences. Okay? Sentences which express a prayer, curse, boon, or wish. Sentences which express a prayer, curse, boon, or wish are called optative sentences, right? So as an example, you can have examples such as, okay, may God bless you. And I can give here an exclamation mark as well, and yet it won't become an exclamatory sentence. Reason is because it does not deal much with expression. It does not deal with sudden expression. Okay? It does not deal with sudden expression. See, that's why despite the fact that we have an exclamatory mark here, it is still optative sentence. Why? Because the sentence deals more with the blessing. See, and when the sentence deals with blessing, see, it's boon, or you're wishing something good. That's why it is optative sentence. Okay? Or it could be, I wish you a wonderful life ahead. Or it could also be, let's talk something of curse. Though cursing is, it's not a good thing that you should be cursing anybody. You see, as long as, as much as you can, you should always be thinking something good about others, right? But still, because curse also deals with the optative sentence, you can say something like, may that person go to hell. Okay, like I said, it's not quite good to curse somebody, but still, because whenever there's a curse in a sentence, you have to understand that it is optative sentence. All right, the sentence is dealing with one of its kind that is optative. It comes under optative sentence. See, any sentences which deals with curse, like may he go to hell, or something bad, you're wishing something evil to somebody, boon, all right, or a wish, then that is what we call optative sentences. As a homework, give 5 examples to each kind of sentence. 5 examples to each kind of sentences. Meaning for all these 5 different kinds of sentences, provide 5 examples. Okay? That means you're providing 5 examples to optative sentence, exclamatory sentence, assertive or declarative sentence. You're also providing it to interrogative sentence, So this way you can give 5 examples to each kind of sentence. This you can do it as your homework. So that much for today, and if you have any queries, feel free to email us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thank you very much.